Appreciate it. Here we go, YouTube.
2, 1, here we go.
Hey. Oh, my. Yeah. All right, we're going to disconnect the auto. Yeah, exactly. Let's. Right. Yeah. Oh, we lost the front. Oh, front monitor's back. There we go. All right.
And we've called.
All right, hey YouTube, so we're going to do a little flight here today from Kilo Papa Whiskey Kilo on down to Kilo Alpha Uniform Whiskey. In case you have ForeFlight and you want to follow along, this is going to be an IFR flight, which we are going to fly at 4,000 feet along, for those of you who do wish to follow along, so the waypoints. And if you've got ForeFlight and if you choose the routes, this is the route that has been approved 73 times in the last while. It's Pumpkin, Nido, Elan, Ronick, and then Bravo Alpha Echo. I'll probably put that in the comments down below so that you guys, anyone watching this, if you want to program it in, you can do so.
And as a recommendation, especially for an area you haven't flown in before, ATC normally refers to the VORs by their name, not their identifier. Mm-hmm. So if you have any VORs in your route, like Bravo Alpha Echo, good idea to have a look at the name of the VOR. So if ATC refers to that, it will probably trigger your memory.
Badger.
Badger, indeed.
Badger. So joining me in the cockpit today, we have my co-pilot. I'm actually pilot in command over in the right seat, only because, as you know, I just know I'm working on my commercial license, and I'm working on getting more familiar with sitting in the right seat. But this is Matt.
Hey guys.
Say hi to Matt.
Hey everybody.
And then outside the control box, we've got the now infamous, at least on my channel, Fabio, Mr. Super Sim himself. So if you want to say hi to Fabio in the comments, please make sure that you do that.
Hello there, gang.
All right, so we have filed our flight plan, and we are now sitting on signature. And if you switch your iPad back, so now I got to switch over so that my iPad gets a location.
So mine, for the record, mine is still doing that thing it did last time. I'm on the T-Mobile, but it's showing me aircraft position on my iPad.
No kidding. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just switching back to PFC Sim. Let me look at my...
Well, and once you're on PFC Sim, just as a test, Trent, make sure you get your aircraft position. Then try to connect to the T-Mobile and see if the aircraft position stays.
All right, so now we are going to call up the fine folks.
Back on comms?
Okay, over at Clarence. So, Matt, Mr. Co-Pilot.
Yes, sir.
Would you be kind enough to program in the correct frequency for us to get our IFR clearance?
Okay, and that frequency is...
You see what I'm doing here, Fabio?
Oh, yeah.
I'm leveraging the assets that I have in the cockpit with me.
Or passing on the hot potato.
Yes.
Do we want ATIS in there, guys?
We should get ATIS. If you want to put ATIS in first, that's fine, and then I'll listen to that and I'll make notes.
Yeah, it should be accurate.
Yeah. IFR flying, so...
Okay, so down to 124.7, guys, correct?
1242 I have on the plate here.
Okay, is that Pewaukee?
Yeah, Pewaukee ATIS.
Oh, 24.2, correct. Okay. And let's see.
Executive information Kilo. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 120 at 10 gust 25, visibility 1. Sky conditions 3600 few, 8900 few, temperature 26, dew point 7. Altimeter 299A. Arriving runways 16, 12, 06, departing runways 16, 12, 06. Advise on initial contact you have Kilo.
Okay, good. Sounds good. You want us to program the altimeter for 29 or 0.9 or 8?
Got it in there.
Thank you. All right, and then if you want to switch me over to approach, then I'll call up and get clearance.
Okay, clearance delivery there is 124.7.
Okay, so we're on that. So clearance, this is Cessna November 72 Mike Zulu, and we are on the Rapid Signature Flight School, and we're looking for a clearance for our flight today.
And did you use 72 Mike Zulu? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did. Yep.
November 72 Mike Zulu, good afternoon, Milwaukee. Clearance. I have a reroute for you. Advise when ready to copy.
72 Mike Zulu is ready to copy the reroute.
Roger, 72 Mike Zulu. Reroute from Milwaukee is Milwaukee to Pumpkin to Nido to Dillon to Runnick to the Badger VOR. Thereafter, Victor 191 to Chirp, then direct.
Okay, let me read that back. So that's going to be direct to Milwaukee via Pumpkin, Nido, Dillon, Runnig, the Badger VOR, then Victor Way 191 to Chirp, and then direct.
November 72 Mike Zulu. Readback is correct. Confirm filed altitude.
4,000 feet.
Roger, November 72 Mike Zulu. You can expect 6,000 feet, 10 minutes after departure.
Okay.
Departure frequency will be Chicago departure on 120.55, squawk 4443.
Okay, so climb maintain 4,000, expect 6,000, 10 minutes after departure, talk on 120.55, squawk 4443.
November 72 Mike Zulu. Readback is correct, but we have an addition. We're working at TFR around Chicago today, so I'm figuring out how to get you guys out. And just heard back from Chicago. They want you to do the Milwaukee 5 departure.
Milwaukee 5. Okay, so scrap everything you just told us.
No, don't scrap everything.
Okay.
He just added a departure to your flight, but the rest of the route
is the same.
Is the same.
So via Milwaukee.
And I think ATC would have actually said, you know, we're adding the Milwaukee 5 then as cleared.
Okay.
Or as filed.
Well, it wasn't as filed though, because you got a reroute. So he can't say as filed. He has to refer to the new route. So any idea why he rerouted you guys?
Yeah, I would say that right turn away from Chicago as opposed to, and that would be my guess.
Yeah, that's for the departure. What I meant is later down the route, you guys had, basically the route stays the same until Badger, but then after Badger, you were going direct.
To Chirp.
Well, you were going direct to the airport. He gave you an airway to Chirp, then direct. So if you look at your flight, any idea why that might be?
Well, that sets us up for the RNAV into.
It can. It can.
Yeah,
So
guess.
Matt, make sure you have turned on your flight map there. NOTAMs
As a layer.
as a layer.
Pretty sure I have that on already. Let me check. Yeah, I do.
See anything between Badger and the destination?
Yeah, there's a big red funny shaped box. That's what I was clicking on before when I was saying this is what we're going to file. And it's an unmanned aircraft. It looks like they're going to be flying some unmanned aircraft.
Yep. It is a MOA.
Yep.
And it's active today.
Yep.
So you may get cleared through it, or you may not. Looks like in this case we didn't. And there's no problem filing through it like you guys did. And if ATC can coordinate that with whoever's running the MOA, they will. But looks like in this case that was not an option.
So I've got a flight question here.
Yeah.
The departure that you've given us isn't one of the options in flight.
Yeah, why would that be?
I've already packed it, so I don't know why.
So the Milwaukee 5 is not a SID. So there's nothing to draw on flight. So flight only draws and gives you the options when you hit procedures for SIDs. Once in a while, if an ODP is charted, they'll do that. In this case, this ODP is charted, but it's not an RNAV route.
Okay. So in the GPS we can select it, but it's asking for a transition.
Well, yeah, look at the departure itself, right? So read the Milwaukee 5 to figure out what you're supposed to do.
Okay, which we were looking at earlier. Takeoff distance, takeoff obstacle notes, initial climb. Start right turn within 1 nautical mile of DER and complete the turn to assigned heading north on R058 DPA.
North of, not on. Big difference there.
North of. Okay,
You
so
cannot cross that radio on this departure. And by the way, what's DER, Trent?
I'm looking. DER.
Jeppesen shortens it to DER. The FAA actually spells it out on their charts. It's departure end of the runway.
Okay. And going back to the clearance. So we have not been assigned a runway to depart from yet.
No, but which runway does this departure serve?
Well, the best winds runway today is 12, so I assume that's what we're going to get is 12.
Nope. Often that's not the case at a satellite airport like this,
Okay.
because what ATC is doing is they're launching you from what's most convenient for them.
Okay.
Now, you're always able to say, what you know, if you don't want to depart from their runway, what do you say?
Unable.
Unable.
Unable, yeah.
Right. Now, that's your right. But if you say unable, you're viable or liable to get ATC come back and say, Roger, you can depart runway 12 in 43 minutes.
Yeah, it's either that or sit in the penalty box. Shit,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Trent, you're laughing, but that's absolutely what happens in real life.
Okay.
Basically, remember, we are sort of annoyances to most controllers.
Yeah.
They see the traffic in and out as airliners in and out of Chicago. That's their job. We're a nuisance, right?
Yeah. All right, I want to go back to I have more questions. I have many questions. This
Good.
departure, it says, you know, obviously you turn within a mile, so you're going to be turning pretty quickly after you take off whatever runway they assign us. It's going to be a right turn, and then you're going to complete the turn to assigned heading north of R058 DPA. I'm looking at this thing. So there's the DPA. Oh, okay, there's 58. All right, so you cannot cross that line, which is why. And then it's kind of graphically shown if you zoom in. Okay. Because there is a right turn arrow, and it does not. It abuts the line, but it does not cross it. Okay, so now let's go back down.
And I assume that's for DuPage, for traffic, correct, guys? Is that what that's protecting?
O'Hare. It's protecting
Okay,
O'Hare.
so it's departure for O'Hare. Then.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we launch almost directly in the direction of O'Hare over
Okay.
runway 16.
All right.
All right, if unable to comply, advise tower prior to takeoff. All aircraft will receive radar vectors to appropriate nav aid fix, maintain 3,000 or assigned altitude. We filed 4, and I didn't hear you say anything other than just expect 6 within 10 minutes, which tells me we can climb to 3, because that's what it says on this departure procedure.
Yeah, it says 3 or
assigned altitude.
right. So it sounds like we're going to get a heading and maybe a different altitude than 3,000. And often you only get those right as you're about to take off.
Okay. All right, expect clearance to requested altitude, flight level after departure. Okay, so now going back to programming this departure, which I can't do in my iPad, but I can do in the G1000, there's asking for a transition. And there's a ton of them.
So looking at the chart, I'm going to guess that the transitions are all these different VORs that are drawn on the chart.
Yeah,
Does that sound right?
probably. So the one that we would make the most sense for us is Northbrook, which
maybe.
is OBK.
There's also Badger on the chart. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
at.
way up there. Okay, so BAE. So, what is there? And neither of those. Oh yeah, BAE is. So would that be what I would pick at this point in time? Is Badger?
Yeah, I don't think what you pick matters in this case,
Okay.
right? They're all just VORs, so it's just going to draw a line from the airport to a VOR that's on the chart. But in reality, we know that what we're going to be doing is, yeah, we have to turn right before that radio, but then after that is what? Well, it's whatever heading and altitude they gave us. So choosing a transition like Badger makes sense today, and I would do that, but we're probably not going to get direct to Badger right away. Again, Matt, look at the defense mechanisms. Trent's a specialist in using all the defense mechanisms that we learn in CFI.
Excellent display.
All right. Okay, so I'm just thinking through all of this stuff. Matt, a couple of other things you can do, because we're going to be doing an upside down U before we go. If you want to, here, let's just put this. If you can put, no, actually I can do it quicker than you.
Yeah, so Matt, for the record, what Trent's doing is he's manually setting up a pitch for the departure here because we don't have the go around button in the sim yet.
Yeah, there's no GA button because the throttle is, and you want to switch that into alt mode, please? Okay, so back to the task at hand.
Okay,
so,
which one, Trent? Say again.
Switch, see it's how it's on ground. So go into transponder, and then you just hit alt, and now that's good.
Oh.
And I'll talk about this upside down U thing. Well, I'll talk about it right now. So Fabio teaches this upside down U where you basically go like this, and go like this before you leave anywhere. So in our case, we want to make sure that, you know, if there's applicable frequencies that they're active, we want to make sure that we're in heading mode, which you want to make sure that we've got whatever, what we're going to switch off over to as soon as we take off is going to be, you know, programmed into here, which was given in the clearance, because we're going to talk to ground and tower first.
Sure. And what was our departure frequency?
So, well, we actually we're not going to worry about it just a second, because we're going to wait when we start to taxi. At that point, we'll worry about it, because there's no point in doing it now. There's only so many slots there.
Yeah, so Trent, for the record, and this is just FYI, some pilots like to put departure in COM2, no matter how many ATCs they're going to talk to.
That's what I was going to do.
Perfect. Let's do that. So,
okay. All right, back to COM2, and then we've got our ATIS in there.
Yeah, that makes it easier.
And then what is our frequency for our departure?
We're looking at 120.55.
2040.
And you can even make it active, because that way we're just going to hit the COM2 mic button when we right after we take off. So then we want to make sure that we've got our altitude bug. So I programmed in 3,000 simply because that's what's on this departure plate. And if we get to assign something else, we'll get to assign something else. And then we've got the correct 2992. It's actually 2998, I believe.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got 4443. No, that's not the right one. It's 4443. So if you would change that squawk code there.
Okay.
So right here, and then just go code, and then just punch it in. 443. There you go. Bingo. Okay. All right. So Fabio, back to you. So now I want to update my. So can you have your phone in this mode here? I'm going to read off the route.
Okay, get me to that mode if you would.
So
please.
if you just do that, now I'm going to read off the route. We'll and then you can just share the route with me afterwards.
Okay.
All right. So Pumpkin, Nito, D-Lan, Ronik, and then we've got the Badger VOR. So pull and then B91 and chirp. So take BAE out. Okay, and then insert before or after. So Ronig, insert after the Ronig, the Badger VOR, which is actually it was already in there. BAE. Sorry, so we're just putting that back in. BAE.
Okay, so yeah, BAE after Rowan.
Yeah.
And then chirp.
And then it was chirp. Oh, so V191, but you need to put that in there. So after BAE, let's go insert after V191.
Milwaukee clears November 147, Mike Bravo is ready for IFR clearance.
And then after that,
November 147, Mike
chirp.
Bravo, Milwaukee clearance, advisory and ready to copy.
So chirp, chirp, chirp.
November 17, Mike Bravo is ready to copy. November 147, Mike Bravo is clear to Miami as filed via the Milwaukee 5 departure. Climb and maintain flight level 28010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency will be Chicago 120.55, squawk 39, correction, 3771.
Fabio, I'm another for-flight question here.
Yeah.
So in the flight plan, chirp's not in there, but in the map, because of the route that I chose, chirp is in there. How is it possible that there's a fix in the diagram? There's a bunch of them. Oh, because V191 added chirp in for us.
Yes.
So, okay, great. All right, so let's see. So let's confirm that both of our iPads look the same, and then we're going to program it. So Pumpkin, Nito, Dylan, Ronick, Badger, Victor 191, and then Cow runway 13.
Okay, but
Copy.
chirp, correct?
Chirp is, you don't actually have to have it in there because it's it's the off ramp for that Victor way.
Okay.
So you can take it out or leave it in. It really makes no difference. So now we want to program this into our flight plan. So, oops, wrong button. There we go. Okay, so next thing we want is Pumpkin. So
PM PKN.
Thank you, P.
M.
M.
P.
P.
K. N.
Okay, and there we go, Pumpkin.
And then Nito.
Okay. And that's
N. E. A. T. O. And Dylan.
okay.
Guys, I'm making a trip to the boys' room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
DLLAN.
DLLAN, correct.
And Dylan. And then after Dylan, we got Ronick.
Ronick. RONIC. And then BAE.
R-O.
Oh, RONIC.
There we go. And BAE.
BAE.
Okay, and then,
Victor 191.
okay, so when we're on call, if we hit menu and then we put load airway, there's Victor 191, and our off ramp is chirp.
Is chirp.
So, there we go, there's chirp down there. Load. Okay, so now we're going to roll through this and make sure that the programming in here equals what you got on your iPad.
Okay.
So, and so we've got our runway 16 and then BAE. Why is BAE there?
Shouldn't be.
It might be part of the departure procedure that
It
I
is.
programmed in.
Can we choose that departure procedure?
So there should be a way to expand this.
Can you hit enter there and
All right, I'm back on comms.
does it give you a departure procedure?
Yeah, so we're
it-
just
it did.
programming the G1000. How do you expand?
Go back to that. And it gave you, I think, didn't it give you the
So
procedure there?
we've got the departure procedure loaded into the G1000, and it's putting BAE right after Mansick, which is, I believe that's the name of our departure procedure, isn't it? No, Milwaukee.
Just Milwaukee 5.
Yeah, let me just reload that. Milwaukee 5 and BAE was the transition that we wanted. Like, yes. Load. Okay. All right. So then after that, we've got Pumpkin, Nito, Dylan, Ronick. It's confusing to me, and I'm speaking to both of you guys, that BA is an en route point after Ronick.
Yeah, that's our BOR. Badger.
Yeah, but it's also part of our departure procedure.
Yeah, but remember, it's because the Garmin requires a transition, even if you don't fly one.
Okay.
So you can select it and then ignore it.
Okay. And then after that, we've got Victor 191 to chirp programmed in. That's our off ramp. And there's all the points that are on there. And then we've got the airport. So to me, that looks programmed correctly.
Read back correct. Yep.
Okay. All right, it's time to get a taxi clearance.
Matt, I don't know if you know, but you can connect your phone to the SIM Wi-Fi and get aircraft position as if we were actually flying this flight.
Okay, stand by just a second.
Sure.
See if I can't do that.
So it should be called PFC SIM, the Wi-Fi that we're on.
Okay, got it.
All right, what is our...
Is there a password, guys?
I
1, 2,
don't-
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I just shared it with you, Matt, and so it should be done actually automatically.
Yeah, there you go.
There you
You're
go.
good.
It's coming up, I think.
Okay. So...
Yep.
So,
So
ground.
now if you go back to ForeFlight, Matt, you should be able to see your own aircraft position in Milwaukee.
And you guys said something about the no internet connection, but I'll just disregard that.
19.9. Okay.
If you zoom in, Matt, you should be able to see your aircraft flashing there on the ground in Milwaukee.
I wonder why not.
No?
Not yet. Let me go back to settings. Stand by.
Milwaukee ground, this is Cessna 172, November 72 Mike Zulu. We're on the ramp in front of the signature flight support building, and we're looking for an IFR taxi clearance.
November 72, Mike Zulu, Milwaukee ground, good afternoon. Taxi runway 16 via Kilo 3 and Kilo.
Taxi runway 16 via Kilo 3 and Kilo 72 Mike Zulu. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So via Kilo 3, so we're going to go out and turn left, and then we're going to head, turn left. Yeah, left, right, all the way to runway 6.
Okay.
Okay, so there's Kilo 3. So you want to go ahead and release the parking brake.
All right, where's that at?
That's a big red handle right there. Just push it in. There we go. It's good.
All right, clear right, clear left. Clear right, clear left.
You want to do a taxi check on our gauges for us? Whoop.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, positive to the right. And there we go back to
The rudder pedals are a real trip on this thing. It's quite hard to make the plane taxi straight, just so you know.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not like
fine.
I'm drunk here.
You might be getting me drunk here to
Well, I'm also taxiing a little quicker, so let me slow it down a little bit.
slow her down just a little bit. And yeah, our DG's responding. All right, altimeter is set. We're within 75 feet of the field. And our
There we go.
inclinometer is out to the left, out to the right as we taxi. So that is working properly.
Okay.
All right, taxi check is complete as far as that's concerned. Fars the instruments.
November 72, Mike Zulu, monitor tower now, 119 or decimal 9.
72 Mike Zulu, tower 119 or decimal 9.
All right, ILS critical area.
So I think I need to stop at this thing,
Yeah,
do I
I
not?
think we should.
Oh, I have no brakes. You have to do the brake pedals.
The brakes should be working,
No,
Trent.
they're not. They're not.
Really?
I have no brakes. No.
Oops, sorry guys.
So ILS critical area, to the best of my recollection, we were supposed to stop there, were we not?
We should have. We would have gotten a taxi clearance to stop there. So
That's true. He didn't give
hold
us.
short taxi,
Yeah,
obviously.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna keep going then, because he's put us over the tower.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so we don't need to stop at those unless ATC asks us to.
Okay.
Trent, I'm just gonna put my feet on the pedals very lightly, just so.
Well,
that
tell you
this-
what. You're the guy with the brakes. You can taxi us there. How's that?
Okay.
Your controls.
All right, stand by just a second here. Let me get used to this. Okay, here we go. All right, looking for Kilo here. All right, go ahead. All right, is that taxi diagram up? Yes, it is. All right, whoops.
Yeah, we're just gonna go up here and hang a left, and that'll.
Oh,
that'll
sorry,
get us right there.
I think I'm gonna get you drunk.
Yeah, it's tricky to taxi this thing.
So I noticed that basically there's a small lag with the rudder, so that's why we end up doing a lot of dancing. So if
Yeah.
you put in an input and just wait a second to see
Yeah.
what it did. you do a little better job.
We're going to do our run-up right here, I assume.
Yep, that looks like a good area.
Good enough. Okay, parking brake on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Okay, parking brake set. Brakes are set.
All right. Up to 2,000, and then we'll do a magneto check. All right, go for...
All right, left side first. Okay, standard drop.
Yep,
Back to the boat. And right side.
looks good.
Looks good.
Then we're at a fixed speed prop, so... Okay, parking brake off.
Okay, parking brake is off. Brakes are on.
You want to take us over to the...
I'll take us over here.
Tower, this is Cessna November 72 Mike Zulu, holding short, runway 34, and we're ready for takeoff.
November 72 Mike Zulu, Executive Tower, good afternoon. Clear for takeoff, runway 16, climb and maintain 3000, and fly the Milwaukee 5 departure, heading 340.
Okay, clear for takeoff. Stop here. Clear for takeoff, runway 16, climb maintain 3000, fly the Milwaukee 5 departure. And say the heading again, would you?
November 72 Mike Zulu, heading 340.
Heading 34072 Mike Zulu, thank you.
And so Trent, this, after you get a clearance like this, is when I would do the upside down U, because now you got some stuff to program.
Yeah.
Okay.
So starting over here, so we put nav, because we're going, actually no, this is a GPS departure, so I don't need a nav 8 in there. So heading is good, that's good. We're ready to talk to approach as soon as we lift off. We're at 3,000, where we've got that's not the correct altimeter. The altimeter is
2098.
29.98, correct.
Okay, there we go.
And there we go. Okay, so my controls.
Your controls.
So as soon as we're wheels up, you can switch over and talk to approach. I'm going to let you run the radios. I'm going to fly the airplane.
So Trent, you only do the switching yourself to departure if it's marked on the departure that that's what happens.
Okay.
So because this doesn't say, you have to wait for tower to tell you.
Tower, okay. Oh, that's right. I'm so accustomed to flying in a non-powered airport. Airspeed is live.
Airspeed's alive. Engine's in the green.
Okay, up we go.
Okay, gear's coming up. Ready?
Yeah, well, there's no gear up in this plane.
Oh, there isn't? Okay. Didn't know it was fixed.
We're flying at 172, Matt.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought we were 182 RG.
Now, there we go. Autopilot is on. So we're climbing. So this right turn should be, so we can see here, it's actually going to be
November 72 Mike Zulu, contact now, Chicago departure 120.55.
Chicago departure 120.755.
2055. Okay.
Yeah, 120.55.
Yep. Okay, there we go, departure.
Okay. Chicago approach, this is Cessna November 72 Mike Zulu with you at 1500, climbing 3000.
Runway heading.
Delta 43, climb and maintain 8,000, need you to expedite. Roger, climb and maintain 8,000, expedite, Delta 43. United 1238, I'm still going to keep you on that hold. We're going to shuffle you down in a couple of minutes here to a lower altitude, so stand by. Roger, United 1238. Alaska 229, sir, I need you at 5,000. Need you at 5,000. Show 5,600. Roger, we'll get back down to 5,000. Alaska 229. Lifeline 12, I see you hovering outside the Class Bravo. Still don't have approval for your transition. How long do you think you're gonna wait for this? And Chicago Lifeline 12. We have fuel here, so we're gonna hold it for another at least 30 minutes if we can.
Okay.
Roger, continue hold north of the field or north of the Class Bravo. We'll get back to you. Station calling Chicago departure. Who was that?
That was 72 Mike Zulu.
November 72 Mike Zulu, Chicago departure. Roger, see you took your time on that right turn. Turn now heading north.
72 Mike Zulu, turning north. So I already have questions, tons of questions. You gave us the Milwaukee 5, which we are not flying.
No.
You sure?
I am 100% positive. I'm looking at it on the GPS on the MFD, and that is not what we are flying.
All right, I'm going to pause the sim. So what plays here? What you see on your map or what the FA charts say?
What the charts say.
Okay. What does the chart say?
The chart says, you don't have to pause it. The part that we are doing what the chart says.
Okay.
And we are exactly where we might have crossed that line. I probably should have had my iPad in the view I'm looking at now. But yeah, the chart says a right-hand turn, which is what we're doing.
Right. Or how about have that radio selected? You're not using GPS right now. You could have your HSI set to that radio 058 from the DuPage VOR.
Yeah.
And then you know for sure. So go ahead, tune that VOR now, 108.4. I don't know if it works when I'm paused.
Okay, 108.4, make it active. Okay, and then let's set this here. So we're going to go PFD. We're going to go bearing.
Well, I would actually select that as my nav source, not a bearing. You can do it with a bearing, but if you select that as a nav source, so go ahead back on the PFD.
Yeah.
Now CDI.
Yeah.
There we go. Now that's the VOR we have dialed.
Yeah.
So turn that course to 058.
I went the long way around, of course.
Sorry.
Okay.
And looks like we're not receiving that VOR, but let me unpause and see if that's why.
Okay.
Okay, so there's your 058.
Yeah.
And look where we are.
We crossed over it a little smidge.
We did.
Not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
But we did. And we did that inside a TFR for the president, which might make ATC a little more itchy.
Yeah.
November 7-2 Mike Zulu, Chicago departure, climb and maintain 5,000.
7-2 Mike Zulu, climb maintain 5,000.
Okay, you're going to have to do that, John.
Okay, so there we go, 5,000.
5,000, thank you.
And then we're going to go flight level change, nose up. And this aircraft we're going to do, we'll climb at 95. Well, we're not going to crash into Air Force One today, so that's good.
I hope not.
It is interesting, though, that the G1000, what was programmed in, when I programmed in the departure, was not at all what we flew, and that was...
There goes our speed here.
Seriously messing with me. No, we're good. It'll stay there. It's just we've got a little bit of turbulence today.
We do.
Oh, yeah. You should see this thing in full turbulence. It will not... You got your seatbelt on? You do?
I do.
Because you will fall out of your seat if he turns turbulent. Well, the plane practically crashes.
Really?
It's nuts. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. When I had my daughter and my wife in here the other day, and she thought it was the coolest thing ever. It'll be on YouTube. You can watch it.
Okay.
Because we don't need to do that right now.
All right, 1,000 to go.
All right. So at this point, there's a few things that we didn't
We missed.
do. Yeah, we didn't turn our light on. We didn't turn the boost pump on.
Okay, strobes are on, navs are on, panel down to medium. We're good.
Yeah.
November 7-2 Mike Zulu, contact now, Chicago Center, 124.65.
124.65, 7-2 Mike Zulu.
Oops. Okay, 2465. Here we go.
Chicago Center, no, Cessna November 7-2 Mike Zulu is with you, 4,500, climbing 5,000.
November 7-2 Mike Zulu, Chicago Center, good afternoon. Climb and maintain 6,000. Resume on navigation as filed.
Climb maintain 6,000, resume own navigation as filed, 7-2 Mike Zulu.
So you suspended that. Okay, gotcha.
So now we are going to go direct to Pumpkin. Yep, that's that's what we're going to do. Direct enter.
Yeah,
enter.
check your flight plan, see what's ahead, and that's what we're going to.
Yep.
Put that back there and make sure that we're in nav mode, which we are not quite yet. So nav, there we go.
There we go.
And you can see Pumpkin 7.4 in nav mode. So we've always, as Fabio teaches me, you're always checking your outputs, not your inputs.
Okay.
So I'm going to update my iPad with 6,000 feet, just, for fun.
Yeah, that's what I've got mine at.
All right, so Fabio, while we have a little bit of time,
Yeah.
I just want to review errors that I made
Sure.
on that. So I think if I was to self-analyze, because I had programmed the G1000 with the correct departure, and I had a visual representation of that departure, when, and I think then I kind of forgot about the plate and the right turn, or I didn't forget because I started to get confused early on, and Matt would have saw me. He says, he didn't say, I started turning the heading the other way because I'm like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a right turn. And then I'm looking over at the MFD, and it very clearly shows a left turn. So I got mixed up for a while. So the takeaway there is always the plate. The plate supersedes whatever is on the dashboard.
Yeah, correct. That's a good self-analysis there of what happened. Plate is always king. The departures and arrivals are complex and different enough between themselves that once in a while the avionics will hinder us, not help us. Right? So this is absolutely a manual type departure. It's a departure where you have to make a tight turn right after takeoff to a heading. Not only would I not use the GPS for any sort of guidance here, but, and I see this trend, Trent, is that you're very quick to jump on autopilot after departure. I wouldn't use autopilot for this departure. So first of all, we have an autopilot limitation. The Garmin autopilot in most aircraft, including the 172, can only be turned on 800 feet above the ground, except for an approach. And an approach, you can leave it coupled to 200 feet. So we turned it on at 300 feet, 500 feet shy of when you're technically allowed to do it. And the reason I say that is because I want to be more in the loop in a departure like this than letting the autopilot do it, right?
Yeah.
I want to be more involved because I want to guarantee that we're flying what I know is going to be a very tight departure in super busy airspace, and there's a TFR for the president on top of that. So I want to be perfect on this departure, and the only way I know how to do that is if I fly the aircraft myself. Now, are you not allowed to use autopilot? No, you can use autopilot. You turn it on after 800 feet. But keep in mind that at the normal sort of climb speeds we have here, look, our true airspeed now is 120 knots, so we're doing 2 miles per minute. We're doing a little less than that on departure, maybe 1.5 miles per minute on departure. Well, we have to turn within a mile, so basically this turn has to be done within 30 seconds of me passing the departure end of the runway.
Yeah.
Right, which is very quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, autopilot or not, that's up to you. But I would have absolutely just flown this departure in heading the whole time, not even looking at the MFD. Don't need an MFD for this departure.
Yeah, you make good points there. See, the counter argument that I was having in my head there was, well, if I put it in autopilot, then I don't have to suck up brain cycles, keeping the wings level and making sure that my pitch is correct and so forth.
Yep.
Plus, I'm over here in the right seat, the flight director's over in the left seat, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So if I put it in autopilot, then I can fly it with knobs and buttons. However, I think another error that was made, and I kind of almost did this, but I didn't catch it. In the upside down U, I said to Matt, I'm like, oh, we don't need a nav aid programmed in.
Right.
I absolutely should have had the nav aid programmed in so that we didn't cross the 058 radial.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the briefing was not sufficient enough for me to think I have to turn within 30 seconds. Because a mile happens pretty damn fast.
That's right. Now, back to what we've been saying, right, Trent? Don't be too harsh on yourself. You're still learning. You're a very new IFR pilot.
Yep.
And I let some of these things go because I know that we learn better from some of these mistakes than somebody telling you ahead of time, don't make this mistake, and then you don't make it, but it's not nearly as impactful.
No, totally.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah, so I saw a couple of these things coming when you said, we don't need a nav aid. I was like, okay. But yeah, the nav aid, in this case, is the only way you are going to know if you pass that radio or not.
Yeah.
There's nothing else in the cockpit that can help you with that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, fly past that mile or past that radio here in Chicago on a TFR day, that could be a violation, right? That could be ATC getting real mad at you, even though nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, that's a couple of things to discuss, is the fact that we didn't have the correct setup, if you will, but also what you said is very important, Trent, which is you didn't realize how tight this was going to be. You know, perhaps a different type of briefing might have put you in a different mental situation where you're like, man, this is a critical departure. I'm going to be on top of this.
So it's funny that we mentioned this. It's because I thought yesterday, I was like, you know, what I need to start doing is, it's all fine to have your departures on plates and this and that, but I should literally just take a scratch pad, a blank scratch pad, and literally just write out my departure so that I only have to look at one thing. I've briefed the departure, I've made notes for myself, and then I just follow my own notes.
You can do that, but you run the risk of not writing something down
Correctly. Yeah.
So I just refer to the plate every time.
Or maybe I instead, if making my own notes, I did this with you once, but I didn't do it today. I just started writing right down on the plate.
On the plate, yeah. 4 flight's great for that.
Yeah. Yes.
I even do that with taxi clearances. So I look at my airport diagram, and when I get a taxi clearance, I'll draw that route on the airport diagram on 4 flight.
Yeah, why not?
Especially at complicated airports, because it will be a sequence of like 9 different taxiways. You know, writing that down is important too. But you can even draw it.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so departure. I'm just looking at my checklists here. So flaps up, heading firm, start time, right date, next call frequency, on route, fuel pump up, went off, some power, we've done that.
And here's another thing. I'm looking at the FAA chart, but I think your JEP chart might have the same. On the Milwaukee 5 departure FAA chart, they try to help you notice how tight this turn is going to be by putting a table at the top, and it's a table for when there's no wind. Depending on the bank angle you're going to use for the turn, they give you the maximum true airspeed that you're supposed to fly. Do you have that on the JEP?
No, on JEP all they do is they circle the area with a gray circle to highlight it, to make it stand out, so that the arrow, the right turn that they've drawn, is in the center of that gray circle. And of course, there's the 058 radial from the DPA, DuPage, VOR. Yeah.
So if you, I think you can look at the FAA chart, even though you have JEP charts.
Yeah, I can. Let me look.
Yeah, look at the Milwaukee 5.
Okay, hold on. Yeah.
And look at the top table there.
Yeah, bank angle, maximum TAS.
It's something we normally don't see. So it should be another, not a red flag, but a flag for you, right? That is like, I wonder why they're showing, it's because it's a pretty tight turn.
Yep. Okay.
What kind of bank angle would the autopilot use if we were on autopilot?
30 degrees, I believe.
Probably standard rate.
Yep, standard rate.
So at this airspeed, it'd be what? What is it? Take that off.
Oh, give it a go.
About 15 degrees.
Go to heading now.
About 15 degrees.
And give it a turn and see what happens right now. Notice the standard rate little pink arc right below the heading number, 344, 342.
Gotcha.
That little guy extending is showing you standard rate. So standard rate at this speed is only about 18 degrees of bank.
Yeah.
Right? And it makes sense because if you look at that table, 18 degrees would be about 130 knots, which is almost what we're doing now in true airspeed.
Yeah.
So the autopilot always does standard rate, but we don't know when looking at this table that the table is standard rate. They could have said that because it looks like it is, but they don't. So in that case, you just have to make sure that, hey, whatever we end up doing in autopilot is at least satisfying this table. And if it's not, down level of automation, disconnect the autopilot and fly it.
So actually the JEP chart does have that table. It's over in the bottom right.
Okay.
And it just, I didn't really look at it because it was just above takeoff obstacle notes. and I was more focused on the text under initial climb, so I briefed it too fast.
Yeah, so Trent and Matt, one of the reasons that I do these sims all over the country is because of that, because there's a lot of variation and unique things in departures and arrivals that you don't see if you stay in the same place.
Yeah, that's been the why I've enjoyed and why I'm YouTubing this for. So, guys, I'm hoping that I'm just talking to the camera here for a minute, guys, in the audience. I hope that you're taking that away from this video, and that was really one of the important things that I wanted you to understand. If you're working with an instructor who's just taking you into the same airports over and over and over again, the mistakes that you're seeing me make and the learning opportunities that are coming as a result of those mistakes, you're not going to be exposed to that. So maybe if your instructor isn't flying you all over the country, maybe do your best to get him to either explain it to him or watch this video, because Fabio, just for the audience, talk briefly about your background as a sim trainer. Like, you did this professionally for years, right?
I did, yeah. So, so I got my licenses and went flying, and then I had kids, and so I wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
So I went to work for a company called Flight Safety International. It's the biggest training company in the world. They have big level D motion sims, those sims that are sort of the top sims in the industry. And we train airline crews and corporate crews. That's a vast majority of what Flight Safety trains. So I spent 15 years at Flight Safety training crews, mainly here in Columbus from NetJets and NetJets Europe. Which is already a very interesting challenge, because European flying is not the same as US flying. It's similar, but it's not the same. And so the other thing too, Trent, is I'm in a unique position in that I learned instrument flying before I learned visual flying. And it's because my dad, who is a pilot, started me down the path of flying from a very young age. When I was 6 years old, I got the first copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And back then, the graphics were nothing like they are today.
Not quite, yeah.
So much so that you couldn't fly VFR because there was nothing on the ground. So they painted a line. It was all black and white, and they painted a line for the horizon. And you knew that above that is supposed to be the sky, but it's black, and below that is supposed to be the ground, but it's black. So you basically had to fly based on the instruments. And that first version was very limited in where you could fly, but actually this area of Chicago was one of the areas. So I've been exposed to IFR flying for over 40 years of my life. And that has allowed me to be exposed to all these things that I'm exposing you guys to, right? So IFR, much like a lot of aviation, is about exposure, is about going out and doing flights you haven't done before and learning from those. So hopefully that's a good background there to kind of explain.
Absolutely it is. All right, let's put this thing in track up because I prefer that. All right.
November 7 to Mike Zulu, Chicago Center. We have some PIRAPs ahead of you of moderate turbulence, and it looks like it's spanning all the altitudes here. So let me know if you have a different altitude you want to try, but it looks like they're all going to be about the same.
7-2 Mike Zulu, copy that. We'll stay put where we are. Matt, it's going to get bumpy.
Okay. Tighten it up.
For those of you who don't know, we are sitting, I don't know what brand this thing is, but we're sitting in a Precision Flight Controls modular flight deck, 6 degrees of freedom sardine can. And as depending upon what the turbulence gods throw our way, it can get very bumpy in here. Oh, there it is.
Here we go.
Get a little bouncy. Hey, simulator gods, do you think maybe we could have a little VFR on top so we can have at least something to look at instead of nothing?
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
You know, a little blue sky here and there.
All right.
I mean, we've got our synthetic vision on the PFD, but it's not exactly, it's a little wanting. Oh, there we are. Look at that. All right. A lot of farm fields down there. And one big Great Lake.
So I'm going to set turbulence to max just so you guys can see what it's like.
All right. Hang on. Seriously. like, hang on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, here we
No,
go.
Oh, hang on. Make sure your seatbelt. All right.
I won't do it for very long.
All right, we're ready.
All right,
All
appreciate
right,
Here we go,
3,
YouTube.
2, 1. Here we go.
it. Man. Oh, my.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to disconnect the autopilot,
Yeah,
brother.
exactly.
All
Let's.
right, yeah.
Oh, we lost the front. Oh, front monitor's back. There we go.
And,
All right.
and we've cleared the turbulence.
We but we just went into the VNE and tore the wings off.
Yeah.
Did you tore the?
Oh, yeah.
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 She can't fly. Okay, I'll fix that. Well,
Well, I
we'll be
don't
able
think
to
the
fix
wings
that.
got torn off. I'm just saying.
Oh.
It came close.
We
Got it.
Yeah, we were in the V.
And-
we were well into the VNE.
Yeah,
there.
and it threw you 90 degrees off course
It did,
too.
yeah.
Sure did.
See, YouTube, I told you this thing shakes us around. It's kind of like being in a bartender's shaker cup when they turn on max turbulence, which, as we discussed before, it's so max that I think it needs to be turned down. It's kind of useless at that level. We'll use that for the intro to the video.
It does simulate it well, though.
Yeah. How would you like to be in IMC and have that happen for real? I would choose no.
I would say a big no.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, no
My
kidding.
goodness.
You know what, though? Here, I'm going to take the autopilot off.
Okay.
Not that level of turbulence
Yep,
because
you wanna
it's
try?
unflyable, but yeah, and put us back in IMC.
Okay.
So autopilot off. And we're just going to see what I can do here.
You want a heading bug?
Yeah, let's do a heading bug.
Thank you.
And we'll do some hand flying, folks, for the folks in the audience, and we'll see how well or poorly I do at this in moderate turbulence, which in this thing is extreme.
All right, Trent, you ready?
I am ready, sir.
And let's try this.
Yeah, so I can tell
This
you
is
that,
just maintain head. That's all.
yeah, I'm mostly wings level. I'm focused on wings level and pitch attitude.
Yep.
Not even so much heading, because I can survive going in the wrong heading. I cannot survive a graveyard spiral. And we're not even in IMC because we're on top still.
Yeah.
So I can't even, this is why one of my personal minimums is if I'm going to go IFR flying, I want an autopilot, because I can't imagine having to do this for like an hour. Just silliness.
Yeah, it wears you out so quickly.
Yeah, Matt, you want to have a stab at it?
Sure.
Okay.
I got control.
Your controls, buddy. Enjoy. That wing level. Wing level, wing level,
my
wing
goodness.
level.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't it?
It's borderline unflyable, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah. All right, you can knock that off.
Yeah,
I'll
I was
put the
gonna say.
autopilot back on.
Wow,
We're
how
going to
much,
request a different altitude.
how
if
much
that's
is
the
that
case.
worth for you guys? 'Cause,
You want to get kicked in the nuts when I get out of this thing?
Oh, my goodness.
all right, should we be back to normal?
Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Now,
back to
That's a
normal.
little bit much. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yep. Yeah, Matt, we're actually, so just to show you, Matt, I'm going to put the least amount of turbulence I can. We have a slider here, and this is like one click up.
One click up is actually kind of cool because it's just jiggling just a little bit.
It should have done it. Hold on.
So you got into a 45-degree bank.
Oh, yeah.
Almost
Just like that.
immediately.
Just like that.
Yep.
It's like, wow.
So I think this is the least amount of turbulence we can have.
Yeah, which is great. This is kind of like enhances the realism in my opinion.
Yeah, but I still think it's a little too much. I'd like maybe half of that
Yeah.
would be sort of realistic for a day, you know, a normal day.
There's probably a number in the config file.
Yeah, well, the motion is not done by PFC. It's they basically vendor that out. So
Okay.
when I talked to them on the phone, their motion guy wasn't available.
Yeah.
So they basically, the PFC guys I talked to don't know how to do it, but they think that guy will.
Okay.
So we're going to try that in the next call.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because this right here should be like the middle level, or like 40% or 30% of max, something like that.
Yep.
And the other thing that this could have more of is just straight ups and downs, as opposed to rolling across a
Right.
longitudinal axis.
Right.
More heave. That's one of the things that my full motion sim at home with Microsoft Flight Simulator is particularly good at, is heave.
I see.
Is when you're got VR goggles on
Yep.
and you're in you know, in the mountains in IMC or, you know, in conditions where you don't have great visibility and it goes, it's a trip because it really messes with your head when you get those VR goggles on, especially when you're doing it for, 20 minutes and your brain's now fully immersed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you guys want, I was going to fast forward you or try to.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yep.
Okay, let me see how I can do this, because I haven't done it in this sim yet.
This is going to be a long, boring flight otherwise.
Yeah.
Maybe take us up to like...
I'd say chirp and...
Yeah, chirp.
Yeah, I was going to put you basically biped.
Yeah, that'll
way
work.
point before.
Sure, that'll
Let me
work
see
just
if I
fine.
can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Matt, you're not feeling queasy or anything, are you?
No.
Okay.
Oh, good shape.
Okay.
How about you? You good?
No, I'm fine. I don't get motion sickness. You
Yeah, I
could
don't
spin
either.
me in around, do whatever, and I feel fine. My daughter, so I had my daughter here, she's 9. She thought the turbulence was the coolest thing ever. More, Daddy, turn it up more.
Yeah.
Oh, so it looks like I can't reposition you except to an airport on the ground, but I can increase your ground speed.
Yeah,
There
let's
you go.
do that.
So let me try this
How
here.
does 400? Turn the turbulence right off if you're going to do that, please.
I was going to say, let's go 250. We'll stay below the speed limit. And
All right, so I maxed out your ground speed. You're going much faster now.
Okay.
I don't know if your true airspeed or ground speed reflects that.
No, it does not, but you're jiggling the crap out of us right now, so if you can turn the turbulence off. that'd be
Oh,
great.
interesting. That's a mode we haven't seen before. I'm working on turning it off.
Okay. Because basically the turbulence is now going as fast as,
Yeah,
as
I
our
guess.
increased ground speed. And
I guess.
it
All right,
was
should be
kinda-
smooth now.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like driving
much
down a
better.
washboard
Thank you.
road.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so this will, it's probably, well, how long to
Well, the ground speed is times 6 now, so
Okay.
you're going, about
6 times as fast.
700 knots.
Yeah,
yeah, good.
and we're in afterburner now, folks.
Yeah.
Excellent.
In full IMC, because, why would you?
Information Lima. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable.
So did you have that already turned on for our arrival?
I did
Sky
not.
Conditions 450 overcast.
We don't
Temperature.
listen to that. What was that? 12465? Was that the ATIS for the departure airport?
No, that was Chicago Center.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why it started talking to us all of a sudden.
Yeah. Okay, so should be over Badger or just passing Badger.
Yep.
Oh yeah, look at that ground go under you like it's nothing.
We don't see any ground.
Well, in synthetic vision.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
All right, so next VOR should be Oshkosh.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we actually had a software crash, and so we had to reposition the aircraft down on the ground at our destination airport. We've just taken off, and we're just flying out to the initial approach fix for the RNAV runway 13 approach. So if you have, again, if you have ForeFlight, you want to follow along, feel free to do that. The initial approach fix is Fallet. That's Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo Tango, and so if you care to follow along, that's what we're going to be doing. So briefing the approach now, and we're not really going to be too worried about radios at this point in time because, again, of the software crash, we're just literally going to fly this particular approach. All right, so at Fallet, we want to be 3,600 feet, which is our current altitude. The MSA, now this is interesting. So much focus on MSA lately. There's no MSA circle on this plate. There's a TAA.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've never seen that before.
Matt, are you familiar?
TAA?
Yeah, instead of MSA.
Negative.
So a TAA versus an MSA. An MSA is a minimal altitude around a point, right? Sometimes it's the airport, sometimes it's the runway or a VOR. A TAA is used in RNAV approaches. It stands for Terminal Arrival Area.
Okay.
And so, you know how most GPS approaches start with a T?
Yep.
This one doesn't. This one only starts at Fallet. But normally we have two more waypoints, right? One sort of northeast and one southwest of Fallet.
Yep.
Each of those points is also an initial approach fix, right?
Yep.
So each one of those points and Fallet would have their own TAAs. So on a GPS approach, basically, instead of having an overall MSA, like we do in other approaches, they break it down by initial approach fix. And then each initial approach fix can have different altitudes for arriving from the north or the east or the west. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, for example, let's pick, let me see. Well, I won't do it now because you guys are 7 miles from the initial approach fix, but I'll show you another approach where that is. So it's like an MSA, but divided into the different initial approach fixes. In this approach, we only have one initial approach fix, valid, but even then, they split that up into, hey, if you're coming from the southeast or if you're coming from the northwest, they both happen to be the same, 3,600,
Yep.
but they could have different altitudes there.
Yeah, so you're talking about the 2 half circles that are just on the plate that are just below the hold fix.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. TAAs are always on the plan view, never up where the MSA is.
Okay. All right. Okay, so continuing with our brief, final approach course 127. Decision altitude is programmed in at 1446. Our mist is climb 1800, then a climbing left turn to 4000. So we would climb to 1800 and then we would turn left, climbing to 4000, direct to Zupig and hold. I assume we're probably not going to be doing a mist, but you never know what the weather gods are going to bring our way.
Okay.
And so there's Zupig inset in the plate in the upper right-hand corner. And Zupig, there it is, it's already programmed into the G1000. So that is all fine and dandy. Okay, so after Fallet, so in this case, we are going to make a parallel entry. So we're going to go outbound, do the old 180, come back to Fallet. After we cross Fallet inbound, so we can actually bug this to 3000.
Okay.
After we cross Valid inbound, we'll descend to 3000 to Hamco, which is the final approach fix. And from there, because we're doing an LPV approach, and we should actually, he said cleared, so we can put it in approach mode. Then our vertical guidance will arm, and we'll get vertical guidance on the way down. Don't have to worry about any step downs. Our VDP is 1.1, so what I would like you to do when we're 1.1 from threshold, just call out VDP.
Okay, I'll do it.
And visibility, so the minimums is 1446 and 3/4 of a mile, which, do we get our weather yet? We didn't get weather yet.
No.
We got the right frequency?
Do we do? 122.95, that's on our COM 2.
Wausau
There we go.
downtown weather. Wind 150 at 13, gust 21, visibility 2. Sky conditions 4100, overcast, temperature 24, dew point 15. Altimeter 2992.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to upgrade altimeter to 29 or 92?
1 point, okay.
Right there, that one.
Yep. And check your distance here. We're about 0.8. 2. Again, it was 2.9 or 9 or what?
2.9 or 9 or 2?
2.2.
Yeah.
There we go.
So the autopilot's got from here that you can see it's already going to show our parallel entry or teardrop. It's a bit of a coin toss from where you can do either one.
Okay.
From where we're coming from. There we go. Now, so let's put back to plate mode. There we go. Yeah, no, it's going to fly a teardrop, which you can actually see now on the MFD here.
Yeah. Okay, our inbound course is a 127. I've got that bugged.
Okay.
Okay, 5,200 feet. Touchdown landing zone is 1196. And our elevation is 1201.
Okay. And if we end up doing a circle to land for whatever reason, which I don't anticipate having to do, we would make that the minimums would go up to 1840. But we don't have a concern with weather minimums at this point in time. We're going to have, what were our ceilings here? They were 2,000, or no, 4,100 overcast. So we've got tons of gap between the clouds overhead and plenty of visibility. So we shouldn't have any issues.
Okay, and our Unicom is 122.7. I got that in the COM 1 in the standby. And then, of course, we're listening to Minneapolis Center on 124.4.
Okay, so we'll make our first CTAF call. So if we put on nearest, we can see sort of where we're at. We're 16 miles away from the airport, so I'm going to make my first CTAF call when we're over Fallet.
Okay, sounds good. It looks like what Fallet is about 11.4 out.
Yeah. So for the folks in the YouTube world who can't see what's going on, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this well. Here's the plate. Here's our aircraft here. So we're just getting ready to do what's called a teardrop entry. We're going to fly back to this initial approach fix, and then we're going to just follow the plate and all the descents down to the runway. So that's what you're going to be watching here in the next little bit. Here we are starting to turn.
Okay, good.
And you can see, you know, the visibility. We can already see the ground, and we're at 3,600. So we're not going to have an issue with minimums.
All right, we do have a pretty big crosswind, though, if you noticed.
Yeah, so we can set that up to be able to see that. Here we can go PFD wind option 3. So there's going to be your wind for you in real time right there.
All right.
So I don't think it's going to be a crosswind as much as it's going to be headwind. Because it's 148 and we're landing 13.
1-3, yeah.
So it shouldn't be a huge issue.
Quartering, I guess, crosswind, yeah.
And
Or
there is
I should
some
say.
gusts. It was
21, right?
yeah,
Gusting
13
21.
gusting 21, correct. So with 13 gusting 21, I would come in 5 knots faster.
At least.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would come in at 75. So distance from the airport now, still 17 miles.
Yep.
So we'll be at Fallet in about 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So Rohan, this will not be the most exciting 2 minutes and 12 seconds. If we don't talk about anything interesting, you can chop out this 2 minutes, roughly the next 2 minutes of footage. When you hear me say, okay, we're crossing Fallet, or you hear me making the radio call at Fallet, that's when you can cut the footage back in. No, actually, that was right.
Yeah, it should be 9-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the only taxiway to turn off their Trent's going to be about 3/4 of the way down. So.
Oh, thank you for the reminder. Brief the airport before you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are coming in on 1-3. It helps if you brief the correct airport, like the one you're actually landing at. So 1-3, yeah, so we're probably going to be told to turn off at Bravo. And then that's a straight shot into
No
the
tower
Whistle flying
so.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no tower.
Oh yeah, we're not going to be told anything. That's what
Yeah,
we're going to do.
yes. If we can make that one, I'm sure that we can.
I don't think I can make Alpha.
No, if you can, you're magical.
I got to put it in hover mode.
Okay, like I say, CTAF's up there, and then of course we've got it's up there twice. So.
Well, we're not doing. You can make CTAF active because we're not talking to approach anymore anyway because of the software crash.
Exactly.
And this is called WASO. So WASO traffic.
Yeah.
WASO traffic. This is Cessna November 72 Mike Zulu at 3,600 feet, just crossing over the Fallet initial approach fix for roughly a 13-mile final for runway 13. Okay, so now we can program in our descent.
Yep.
Pull some RPM out. Down to 3,000, confirmed. Okay, we've got
Alright,
glide
3,000.
slope is armed. And I'm going to turn the autopilot off right at the FAF because I want more practice of flying from
Okay.
the right seat and staring over there at the
Alright.
flight director. So we'll make another radio call at the FAF, So if I forget to do that, remind me.
All right.
In case you folks out there in YouTubeville don't know what the FAF is, FAF stands for Final Approach Fix. And on all precision and non-precision approaches, that's where you're going to start your descent down to the runway following the glide slope, which in this case, because we've got an RNAV LPV approach, we are going to get, it's a precision-like approach. It's not an ILS, which is a textbook precision approach, but we can still trust the vertical guidance to a great degree. If it was a non-precision approach and there was step downs, then we'd be using what's called a constant descent final approach, CDFA.
3,000.
3,000, okay. And, but that's a topic for a different video.
All right, 11.8, so there's our...
All right, so airspeed is in the range where I want it. We now have 3.7 miles to go to the FAF. So it's not time for my next radio call.
Not yet.
Actually, yeah, we'll do it another call, 10-mile final.
Why not?
So, Wausau traffic, this is November 7-2, Mike Zulu. We are now 3,000 feet in a 10-mile final for runway 13.
So every time you make a call like this, mention the approach that you're flying.
Okay.
That gives more people situational awareness of what you're doing.
That's true. I always forget about because it was beat into my head earlier to just say it in plain English for the VFR guys, but you gave me that feedback before and I forgot. So I lose a little bit of speed there, so we're gonna add some throttle back in. All right, 2.3 miles to go until the final approach fix. We are right where we want to be.
All right, looking good. 90 knots. We're on a glide slope.
Well, we're not on it yet.
Not yet, but we will be, yeah.
On it when that
3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000. And our lateral nav looks good, right on course here. A little bit of a correction here, which is good. It's what we anticipated with the wind. It is what, 151 at 17 knots, so.
All right, so it's time for some B-gumps.
All right.
Okay, FAF in 0.4 of a mile, 20 seconds.
All right, speed's bleeding off.
Wausau traffic, 72 Mike Zulu is flying the RNAV 13 approach. We're over the final approach fix at 3,000 feet, and I've just picked up the glide slope. All right, autopilot off.
Okay. If you need flaps.
I've already got a notch in.
Got a notch in, good.
Yeah.
All right, speed looks good. Okay, 3,000, 2760.
So what's our go-around altitude here, guys?
Up to 4,000.
14. So the decision altitude
VDP.
is 1446.
So what's the go-around altitude?
The go-around altitude. I'm not familiar with that
What
term.
altitude are you going to climb to if you go around?
Oh, we're going to climb 4,000.
4,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have set?
3,000.
There we go.
Yeah, good.
There we go.
Beautiful, thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to walk you guys there instead of just giving it to you.
Yeah, no problem.
It'll be a climbing left turn, correct? 4,000. Direct Zurich.
So climb 1,800 on runway heading, then
Then 4,000.
turn
Right.
left 4,000.
Excellent.
Also, traffic 72 Mike Zulu is a 3-mile final on GPS runway 13.
Okay, speed's looking good.
You can see there we've got a synthetic runway as well.
Yeah,
pretty
isn't
cool,
that nice?
huh?
Isn't that nice? That is awesome.
So if the flight director failed at this point in time, I'd just put the pickle right on the runway and keep it there, and it'd take us right to the threshold.
So Matt may not know what the pickle is. Call it by its proper name.
Yeah, it's called the pickle.
Flight Path Vector, buddy. FPV.
Pickle.
All right, I got the ground.
It's called the pickle. Military boys call it the pickle.
Oh my. Oh my.
All right, so speed is still looking good.
Speed's good.
And we are 400 feet roughly from minimums. We're
All right.
right on the glide slope. Everything is looking fine. We've already got visuals out the window.
Yep, I got the runway. All right, Pappy's coming in. It's off to the left side. Got 4 whites, looks like. Okay, 1446 is what we're looking for.
Also, traffic 72 Mike Zulu is 2-mile final for RNAV runway 13.
Okay, we're right on the slope. Got 2 whites, 2 reds. Okay, there's 1460.
Okay, going visual.
All right,
Add a notch of flaps.
okay, yeah, a little bit right of center. Correcting. Excellent. Amazing, they left that one tree right there.
Yeah, they're brutal for that. Trees right in the glide path.
Okay, looking good. All right, speed checks.
I call out my speeds.
68. Descending 66, 65. 4, 3, 2,
And remember, I don't have brakes, so
and 1. Okay, I got the brakes.
Okay.
Whoops, I think I do anyway.
yeah. Tell you what,
Whoops.
your controls now.
My goodness.
Okay, you got it.
This is,
It's a handful.
okay.
Trust me, it takes a minute to.
I can't even get on the pedals here. Okay. I think I can. All right,
I don't think
here
we
go.
need to. I don't think we need to taxi it.
Nope.
All right, so we'll call it here. We'll just put the parking brake on.
All right, parking brake is set. Power back to idle.
All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming along with the flight today with Fabio and Matt and myself. I hope that you found this flight very educational. If you did, or you have questions about what we were doing, please make sure that you do leave those down in the comments. The more comments that you leave and the more thumbs up that you give, the more people that will see this video and the more opportunities this channel has to grow and help other aspiring pilots like you and like me. So as always, thank you very much for tuning in and watching with us today. I'm Trent Deersman. It's been a pleasure to fly with you, and I hope that you enjoyed flying with Trent. Take care. Bye-bye.